What's going on, Jerome's practice number 4 for the Minnesota Vikings is in the books, and it's the first practice. We talk about practice with fans back. We're so back, man. This picture is courtesy of our guy Sean Borman, NFL. Go give him a follow for great coverage. And Vikings fan descending upon TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill. It is on. Also, the weather cooperated, so it wasn't hot as ass. Thank you. So it's perfectly great for the fans. And did a little recap. We got 11 takeaways from the happenings at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill on Saturday afternoon. Number 1, fans back in full force. It was a full crowd. Both stands were completely jam-packed, and they were loud and proud, man. And JJ and KJ are running around hyping everyone up, as well as you got Kirk Cousins, where Kirk's funny. But also you had the rookies out there. I believe it was Alan Ali, Jackie Chen, doing skull chant. I love it. People are going to love Jackie Chen. I just want to kick at Jackie Chen. He's my guy. That's right, man. So fans are back. Fans are hyped up. And like I said, the weather was great. It was like 79 and partly cloudy. And there was a nice breeze out there in Egan. So, I mean, if fans had been back in some of the previous days this week, it would have been particularly dangerous. So with the heat wise, but the Vikings, we got very lucky today. It was fantastic. Number 2, Jalen Nailor. So Jalen Nailor had a great first practice on Wednesday and then was missing in action, wasn't even out there on any of the fields on Thursday, Friday. Head coach Kevin O'Connell says that it's a minor leg injury, and the Vikings under O'Connell have been very cautious about injuries, taking their time. He said that the plan is to get him back next week, but we'll see. And Jalen Nailor, I think that he has a chance to really establish himself with the Vikings. He's come in hot year 2. He's done great work with the opportunities afforded to him at OTAs and the start of training camp, but we'll see. Next up, number 3, Kirk Cousins continues to slay. Now, Kirk did throw an interception late to Andrew Booth Jr., but it was more of a great play by Booth. But, I mean, Kirk is out there. He's slicing and dicing. He's like the Ginsu knife. Actually, I'm not even old enough for that reference. But also the thing is, too, like, people notice that he's been really redlining it a lot and throwing into double and triple coverage and making a lot of those throws. And that's actually good. I know people say, like, well, why do we want our quarterback throwing into coverage like that? You want to do that in training camp because you want to know what you're capable of, what your receivers are capable of, and frankly, you're just being a good teammate because you're testing out what your defense is capable of as well. And I know that people want to bag on Dak Prescott for saying, I'm not going to throw over 10 interceptions and then making a couple of tight window throws that ended up interceptions. But even though I want to crap on Dak and the Cowboys, that's actually good because I want my quarterback out there calibrating what their limits are as opposed to just checking it down on 4th and 8. People going to get mad about that. But, yeah, the fact that Kirk, yes, it is shells right now. And, yes, a lot of this is 7-on-7. But, I mean, Kirk is throwing with confidence. I think year 2 in there with Kevin O'Connell is really big. Number 4, the Kirk to JJ connection is still strong, man. You think that maybe since JJ skipped all OTAs that it may be a little bit rusty. But no. Like, I think that Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson is one of the more underrated connections in the league. And frankly, it may end up being number 1 this year because think of all the records that JJ has broke through his first 3 years. Who's been throwing him the ball? Like, he's not throwing it to himself. And they did great 11-on-11s, a deep shot where Jefferson made an acrobatic catch and did the gritty, much to the delight of the fans. Also, I mean, we'll get to him, number 11. JJ is indeed him. Also had a nice 50-yard strike, just a dart downfield from Kirk to JJ. So, yeah, 8-18. No problem, man. Also, Mekhi Blackmon impressing, the rookie third-round pick out of USC. So he did work with the ones a little bit in minicamp, mainly in the slot, but he's been relegated to the second team at the start of training camp. But he's been looking good. He had an interception off of Jaron Hall, which was more, Hall just sort of airmailed it, but but Blackmon, he's got inside-outside ability, and he's got that feistiness that Flores loves on defense, especially in the secondary. And I think that he is going to make a really strong case for staying and playing on this defense long term. Because right now it's Murphy, it's Evans, it's Jawan Williams as your top 3 corners. But I do think that Blackmon and maybe even Booth could work their way in there as well. Next up, number 6. Bucks. So even though Jaren Hall had that interception, it wasn't great, but he's still really impressing. He's got that command at the line of scrimmage. He's got great presence. He's got great leadership. And, the whole mentality of being a rookie, especially like a fifth-round rookie, it doesn't appear to be there. Like, he's confident in getting the play call in. He doesn't have, the hesitation or, being a step slow like sometimes rookies are. But he's making some great throws. He's got a very live arm, making some great back shoulder throws. And I'm really pumped to see Jaren Hall in preseason, and he's going to get quite a bit of work in the 3 games that don't count, but they're going to count for him. And I think that I'm not ready to declare victory and say that the Vikings may have something, but they might have something there. The punt return job. So Jalen Reagor, the incumbent from last year, as well as Brandon Powell, the free agent coming in from the Rams, as well as Jordan Addison fielded a couple of punts. Now, Addison didn't necessarily field a ton of punts in college at Pitt or USC, but he does have that skill set, and I don't know, like, generally, you don't want your starting receivers or starting corners to be returning punts. Generally, it's a backup guy or even a specialist, but I mean, I guess it's good to have that skill set. And this bleeds into 8. Jalen Reagor has actually been looking good. And I know we give him a lot of poop because of him being the first-round pick that didn't work in Philly, taking ahead of Jefferson, and also maybe it's a little bit of self-flagellation on myself, because I'd really like Jalen Reagor at TCU coming out of the draft, and maybe even ahead of Justin Jefferson, but he does have talent. I mean, he was a first-round pick for a reason, even though Howie has trouble drafting receivers not named Devontae Smith. But I do think that he's been looking good with the 2s. He does have a lot of talent. He does have a lot of explosiveness, and frankly, I mean, last year, a lot of mishaps that Jalen had in the offense, maybe it was because he wasn't grasping the offense, because he didn't have a full offseason. But if he does have a full offseason now, maybe he could actually do something, and maybe he could actually hold off Powell or Tristan Jackson or Lucky Jackson or whoever for that wide receiver 5 spot and the punt return job. And then number 9, Caleb Evans is cornerback too. So the Vikings have been taking the field with Joejuan Williams and Caleb Evans as your 2 outside corners, and Murphy in the slot as your nickel look. But when the Vikings have been in their base defense with 2 corners on the field, it's been Murphy and it's been Evans. And frankly, Caleb Evans looked fantastic last year in spurts before he had to exit when he had those 3 concussions. But new equipment, new tackling technique. Hopefully he stays on the field, and I think the kid's got a lot of talent. Certainly does. Unfortunately, number 10, backup offensive tackle Vidarian Lowe walked up with trainers. Now, it's a good sign that it was a walk-off and not a carting off, as we're seeing a lot at the start of other teams' training camps. But hopefully, knock on all the wood, everyone stays healthy for all teams going forward. But Vidarian Lowe was working as second-team right tackle. O'Neal has been out, and they're progressing him back slowly. Oli Udoh has been starting. And then you had Vidarian Lowe as your second-team right tackle. Bobby Evans stepped in. Bobby Evans also got some work at second-team right guard the other day. And then lastly, Justin Jefferson is him. Like, JJ is the face of the franchise. JJ is the fan favorite. Every kid in that stadium wanted to be JJ. Everyone's gritting out there, and he plays to the crowd. Like, it was the Justin Jefferson Show. I mean, not just him like hyping up the crowd before practice, but also doing the gritty, being a real showman. And I think it just solidifies that he needs to stay in purple long term, potentially forever, and get that extension done, man. Like, hey, Kwesi, I know things are deadlocked right now with Daniil. We haven't heard anything about Hawkinson, but JJ, get him done right now. But that's it. That's recap of Vikings practice numero 4. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull production value. Ooh, bonus. Also, Lewisine had a phenomenal diving interception off of Nick Mullins. Skull production value.